I am Beverly Ramsey Moore, President of Trinbago. This evening, I am definitely pleased and honored to introduce to you the Diva of Pan. As the first female president of Trinbago, of course, speaking to Ursula Tudor, it's definitely an opportunity that is giving me goosebumps right now. You know, it was about 2 years ago we've had the opportunity to honor you at a panorama. And we felt that that was just not enough. We needed to have a Steelpan conversation with the Diva of Pan. And so, Ursula, let me take this opportunity on behalf of the Central Executive, our member bands, to thank you so much for being here today so that we can just have a conversation. I want you to relax. All right, it's not, you know, we could talk, we line in, you know. It's a pan line with the Diva, not so? And so I just want us to talk about your journey. I want us to talk about your journey as a young woman, especially in those days when it was a taboo for ladies to go to the panyard. And so you just tell us when you started playing, what the age you started playing, and what it felt like as a young woman to be in a panyard.
Well, I started playing town about when I was 17, but not in a stationary band. You know, I used to play like in 7 years. I tried the bass, I tried the double tenor.
So from 17 years, you were playing pan. You can remember what year that was in particular? That was in the early 60s?
Late 60s.
Late 60s?
No,
early 60s. And so at 17 years, you were playing with several bands, and bands like Serenaders.
Steel. There's only those two I really played in. But there wasn't no big band, you just, you know, went on practice and play.
So, were there a lot of females in the panyard at the time?
No females in those days.
So you were one of the first female players. And so how you managed? How did they see you? How did they treat you?
But the reason why I started so late is because of my parents. They didn't want us to go in the band, in the panyard, because we had like over the road there, we had a panyard and we lived across there. And my father didn't want us to go.
So your dad did not want, so if your dad didn't want you to go, your mommy didn't want you to go, so how you ended up in the yard?
Well, you know, they can't go to 24 hours. So you used to run away. I was one of the brothers, I used to run away and go over the father. But it so happened when I reached about 18, 19 years, I met up with this guy Lloyd Lucas.
Who is that?
Lloyd.
Lloyd Lucas. Okay, so when you were about 18 or 19, you had a friend who was a pan man. Right.
So arrange and do these little bands and so. But we used to play with Desperadoes.
Oh,
so I used to go down and listen to the band, listen, until I tell him I want to play the pan. So, because he played tenor pan, so he used to teach me the music home.
Right.
And I used to go down in the yard and listen to the music when he played. So when I had about 10 tunes, I just went to the band and enjoyed.
So you learned 10 songs at home?
Yeah.
And then you went into Desperadoes. And you became a member of Desperadoes. Around what year was that?
Well, that was in 70 at that time.
In 1970. But at that time when you went into Desperadoes, was it still a bit a taboo for women?
Yeah,
or
women in the band.
So you were the first woman to play in Desperadoes?
Yeah, well, I understand I wasn't, but when I went to the Naven.
So it was just you, Ursula, and all those Desperadoes men, and you fitted in nicely.
That's right.
And so what one you started on?
Tenor.
On the tenor. And you continued playing tenor right through?
Right through. But like carnival time, I would take a touch on the base or the tenor base on the road.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I see the Panyard as a village. You know, it takes a village to raise a child. And so sometimes the village is not just the area where you live, it's the community. And the Panyard is a community. You tell me about your experiences in the Panyard. You think the Panyard is a good place for training and development and empowerment and upliftment? You just tell me about your experiences.
What I would say is depends on how you carry out yourself.
How you carry out yourself?
Yes, when you carry out yourself, it depends on that. If you want to be, if you want to be, you know.
So you're saying that as long as you enter a Panyard, the choice is up to you to become what you want to become.
Because for the years I in Desperadoes, nobody never really disrespect me. But I used to travel all about with the guys and them, and it was me and them, me and them, me and them.
So it is clear that it is whatever path you want to choose. Because you have been playing in Desperadoes for over, how much is that? 4 decades, 5 decades. And you were telling me that you were always respected as a female.
Always respect.
And that was basically because you respected yourself.
Right. So that matter when I go to the Panyard, just when I come to the Panyard, the whole yard lights up.
The whole yard.
Yes, because everybody is looking to hug everybody.
So definitely there's a role for the women in the Panyard, and you think it's because of your motherly instinct.
That's right.
And all of that. And so what do you think about today, about young women, you know, coming into the Panyard? I think it's because of people like you.
Well, most likely, I would say that because now it's like having more female players than male right now.
You are quite correct.
Yeah.
You are quite
more
correct.
More female than male right now because the male and them, for the many standard section we have here is mostly female. All them sections have more female than male.
All the sections now have more
female
than males. What do you think is the reason for that?
Well, I wouldn't know, but my figure, well, maybe the female and them like the pan more than me. But when I pay more attention, they're more interested.
You don't think one of the reasons why women have been going to the Panyards a lot and more women are playing the instrument, do you think is because of the financial rewards and the women, because of social circumstances, and then you have your children to take care of and all of that? Do you think that is one of the reasons that women are going to the Panyard, because of the extra dollars that can help them? Or is it because the children are going to the Panyard, so now you find the parents going?
I wouldn't say that. Because most of the children that are playing pan now come from schools.
Right.
They learn music and they come in, but most of them doing music, especially female.
And so,
you know, so I would say finance because you know pan. I have no finance really.
and you know, but so probably it's systematic, because when you look at our social institutions, from the church, you have more women in the church than men, and then when you go to the PTAs, that isn't going hardly, and then you even look at the teachers in the schools. And so now the women are invading the space, and I think they're doing an excellent job. What do you think?
Yes, because when they call practice, most people see the women. The men coming in one, you know, but the women coming to practice. So they're more interested.
So for you, what do you think? So, I mean, because of the trend, you knew that one day a woman would have been president in Trinbago.
Yes, women do everything now, you know. Women is boss if it
Oh my gosh!
If I make decisions, women is boss.
But so when you think about the journey in terms of a woman, how do you feel today that you now see a woman elevated to the prime position?
Well, I feel proud. I feel well proud to see that a woman president come in the pan. Well,
But you know it wasn't easy, right?
I know. I know it wasn't easy.
You know it ain't easy to break that glass ceiling, you know, because I mean, as you quite rightly said, and I like how this story is developing. To see when Ursula went in the Panya in the early 60s, late 60s and 70s, it was Ursula alone.
Yeah.
And then we have moved from Ursula alone until now, where we are seeing a number of women, as I said, in the various sections.
You see women arrangers, women.
That's right.
There are women tuners and things now too.
Right.
They started too, yeah.
And you know, how do you feel about Pan in general? You know, besides all of that, where we are today?
Well, I find it could be better.
Definitely.
I find it could be better.
Definitely. You know, and what are some of the ways you think?
More, you know, people put more interest, do more things in the past.
More support for the
Yes.
culture,
Yes.
more love. What do you think about
Because
it?
like, well, in my belief, I figure we Trinidadian and they don't really consider the past. That's how we outsiders consider.
Right.
Because if you have a function here, if it's free, you will see the place full. Once you have to pay, they're not coming.
And that is a problem.
They're not coming.
That is a
You understand? No matter so that is like one of the reasons why Pan can't be anything, because if the Pan a band decides to give a function, everybody want to come in free because the cities are Desperadoes or there's All Stars or there's everybody want to come in free.
everybody wants to come in free. You see the drag for carnival, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to pay to go in the
No.
stands because you know you're going to roll up with your band, you know.
Right, yes.
And you're quite right because you know sometimes you try to make money on an event, but no matter how much we can put out for an event, you hardly as a pan body you can hardly make a profit. And I know sometimes you're saying, well, look, Trinbago is a non-profit organization and all of that. We can hardly make a profit because you're right, people don't like to pay because pan is we thing. How we can
right.
pay for we thing, you know?
You see, like we love a good love, we used to play Pan for love of it. But nowadays, young people come in, they play Pan for money because all they play, they want to pay. Whatever the person they make, you have to pay it out to them.
And you know, I think it is a problem, not really that these young people play, they want money, you know, because you know, as a band leader myself, sometimes you wonder this as soon as they finish playing the whole season, friend, everybody's good, but to see the day the season ends,
And
everybody face get vexed because it's about it, and it's not that, you know, I think it's about the social situation, the challenges in the country, because most of these young people are unemployed.
yes, most of them.
Most of them are unemployed, and that is why, as leaders in the movement, we believe that it is a situation where we need more support coming from corporate world in terms of their social responsibility, and even from government, because the role that we all play as leaders in the Panyard by using Steelpan and the music to hold these same young people in the yard for several hours and to train them and all of that. And you know, that is a very, very important contribution that we are making to national development. So it is something that we will have to have the discussion on with respect to our leaders, for them to understand that a lot of the thousands of young people who play in band, 75% of them unemployed.
Unemployed.
And so
And most of them going to school.
that's right, and that's right. So in your days it was pure love for culture. So you go in and play a pan and all of that. Tell us about your tours and so on with Desperadoes.
Well, the first trip I made was in 76.
1976, where did you travel to?
Jamaica.
To Jamaica.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest clubs
Wow.
in Jamaica.
Tell us some more about that.
You know, we went to all Black River and Tigo Bay, we went to lots of places to eat some kind of thing. We didn't know what we eat. But we had a very good time. A very, very good time. The people were nice. Although we went in a kind of uprising time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we had also get escorted to the video we go and thing, but it was good.
Right, and so some of your other trips.
And the next trip was Cuba. And after Cuba, Cuba was that thing because you know that was an economic
Right.
country.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
Communist?
Communist, so we didn't get to go all about. And so there was a stadium and the bango and all, we could have go and, you know. Then after that I went to the England. And
You went to England also.
we went to Africa in 91.
Also, you went to Africa in 1991.
And then after we went to like Australia, Switzerland, and all these places.
So to those European countries, and so you're saying that because of your involvement in the culture, you have been able to travel the world because of fun.
That's it. Because if I wasn't playing the fun, I wouldn't reach those places. I never reach those places. And I appreciate you and I thank the fun for the chief for that because. And in fact, my supporters, because that didn't put on the support, I wouldn't have been here because you have to have the claim to get.
That's right. That's right.
You know, because they pick you.
And so you always made it. You always made it pick.
Always made it pick.
Wow.
The last picker we have been to Africa was only 4 of us. 3 of us. Well, me and my son and a 3 of us.
Really?
That's right. And we ended up putting in some careers because we find that person was to go on the middle.
Right.
So 4 of us.
So you, Ursula, always made the pick. And it was all because of your discipline and your dedication and your commitment to the development.
The only trip I didn't make with in Africa was the last time I went to Africa and because I went to New York to play piano. I used to go to New York and play with Rerun.
What? You were going to New York also to play with the Desperadoes? Ursula, you a serious phenomenon, boy.
I used to play with but they play with Panorama.
So how did you multitask? How were you able to see about family and also to play that role?
But that's what it does. I was asking myself the same question because I was working. So I used to work with Monica Band and Hall of Justice.
What? You were working in the Hall of Justice?
I used to do a lot of courses.
And you were taking courses in the afternoons?
That's right. I do music, guitar lesson, I do fan lesson, I do visual, I do musical, I do beauty culture, I do tailoring, I do drapery, I do. And that is after work. And I still need to find time to walk on the stocks, go up on the savannah, exercise, and then go home.
So you
But I used to get up 4 o'clock and in the night, sometimes about 3 o'clock in the panic. And I had to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, cook my food, get up and start to work. And when I come in the evening, well, I didn't have to cook again, I just had to go practice, I had to go take my courses.
You were.
I went to Southeast and did Spanish.
You did Spanish too?
I did a lot of video. I don't know how to find the time, but people say they can't do this and they can't do that. And
So for those parents out there who would like to take the children away from the Panyard because they have exams.
yes.
My child doing C, so he can't come back to the Panyard. And my child doing exam CXC. You are telling me that you worked, you took care of your family, you went and you did evening classes,
Yes.
you went to the Panyard, and you were still finding time to exercise, to go jogging around the savannah.
Yes. And
And you are still here today to talk to me, and you have accomplished.
if I didn't get bounced on, Child, I mean, active more active.
So some car come from out of the way
And bounce it
and
down.
bounce it up.
Make up on my foot.
But you know what? Thank God for life, eh?
Thank God for life.
Thank God for life. You're still around, but you know, your story is really amazing. I say it so much to our young girls in the Panyard. You know, if you're doing music and you can retain 10 songs and all of that, why are you not doing well at school? It's all about how you apply yourself. Not so?
I remember just one of the had when we were church meeting at the fifth. And we were playing fields. He introduced me and about 4 others to the fifth. And we have to take all the tunes, all the music we have on the tune and put it on the field. And this is a trouble with Steelpan. Steelpan, I tell you, put over all the music.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell you, you're really superwoman. I am so happy for this opportunity, but I can go on and on, but I want to provide an opportunity because for our education officer, who's a young man and represents the face of youth in the movement. And by the time you hear his name, you will know his connection because I guess his uncle, who was also in Desperadoes, was a really one of your friends. I am sure, and so I want to have him come at this time just to have a continuity conversation with you because Ursula, you have strengthened me. At times I'm a bit overwhelmed, especially in PAN, you know, and as you quite rightly said earlier, that as an organization, Trinbago should have been able to be standing on its own 2 feet. You don't think so?
Yeah.
We should have been able to be standing on our own 2 feet. But you know that this new executive we are president of right now, we've come in late 2018 and we are in a pandemic, and really and truly, we are talking now about prosperity in PAN. Because we feel that with this gift that God has given us, we should have been able to do much more. And the way now, as a really strong and a strong front, is to really push this organization forward, where we can diversify and do other things. We know it's difficult times now, but I want to promise to you, I want to make a promise to you today that this president and her team, and I did not come alone because my vice president, Keith Simpson, is here. All right, I know he's a pan man from a long time. He's one of the long time pan men, you know. And so our team, we will definitely work together to take Trinbago by its bootstraps and live it out of the wilderness. Because for too long, Ursula, we have been drawers of water and hewers of wood. And for this instrument that God has given us, I think we can do more with it. And as long as I have the strength, and with support from people like you, I want to assure you, my sister, that together we are going to move mountains.
Well, once I have health and strength, you know, I'm supposed to know.
Not at all. Not at all.
There's only the pain since after the last concert we had in Napa. I get sick and never went back in the panel and never touch a pan since then.
Oh my God, you never touch a pan since then?
No.
You should have a pan in your house.
I have a pan, but I can't play because I'm sick.
Oh, you must still try. Pan is a therapeutic instrument.
I don't know what to forget, you know.
Yeah, you must still play around with it. My dad is in his 80s and he has a pan in his bedroom. He was a frontline man with cats and jammers. And
I have my pan, and that pan is Patrick cannot give me that pan.
right.
And I still have it.
Well, please play it. And you might see that pan will just cause you to just rise up and bring healing and flood your soul. Hallelujah. Are you ready to preach, you know? It'll flood your soul with joy, you know what I'm saying?
I sit down to play. Nothing. I was the last performer. I sit down, I was just sit down.
Right.
I can't stand up because of my back.
Yeah. Don't just get the pan home because you're sick, you know. You don't make that declaration. Let music be your healer. All right? So now I want to introduce Mr. Marcus Ash, our education officer, and then after that, our VP will make some presentations, and of course, he will give you a few words of greetings and of blessings, okay? One of the persons that would have trained me in my earlier days of music would have been Pat Bishop. And I know that's a name that you have to know that name if you're from Desperadoes, at least in your era. So,
God used to have a voice.
and I know she wasn't the easiest to deal with. I mean, I have my own experience and stories. How was it in terms of, you all have the hat trick in Pan is Beautiful.
Yeah.
That she would have certainly played a tremendous role in you all achieving that. What was like the rehearsals? Like, I want to compare if it was the same in my days.
There's a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. But like, you didn't want to go home. It's about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. We used to be in the car there, especially when we go in festival.
Yeah, like I think that's the worst drill master I've ever experienced.
Yes,
She was terror.
She just come out to get the people, so and you have to put on your music.
Yeah. I mean, it was terrible, but you was winning after when it finished.
But we used to practice really hard, really hard.
It was intense. I know Pat Bishop, the only, and it was not break. She would be drilling, and the only pause is to mix VAT 1919 and ginger. You must mix a drink, VAT 1919 and ginger. If you know me, I am similar.
You must have that.
Yes. And once she have that, she's going for hours. She will carry it straight through to the next day. And you're winning.
Yeah.
So and she would have drilled some of the panorama arrangements as well with you.
Yes. When we did panorama music, she would come and drill the music with us.
There were some nights you all kept me up as a child, and I have school the next day, and you all would be rehearsing. I could swear 6 o'clock in the morning I arrive and you all had just finished a rehearsal on several occasions.
6 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the day.
Yeah. I am hearing the rehearsal and I'm saying, but these people don't have a life.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And with all Charles went and he bought us a bucket of chicken for us. And gone again.
Now, in terms of the generation that you were part of, so we had Uncle Tash, you would have known his brother Herbert,
yeah,
and the Buffy, and that whole double second section that used to really feed you, the double second section. And I remember with Crawl and stuff, the relationship you all had,
yes.
Like you wanna share some story of sometime you and me went on a gig, went out or something, and how it went as you being the only female in the bunch then?
Well, the only story I can do like that is like it have times that we're going to play like the only female partners have to play.
So were they overprotective of you,
yes,
from other men, maybe in other bands?
Well, no men don't necessarily come around with you really know that's right.
But they're very territorial. Not venturing anywhere close.
That coming, nobody can come in and different, nobody can, you know?
Now, I want to look right after you. There was a generation where the women started to come in, like the Denise Rose on double tenor.
Denise come late.
Yeah, Joan, so after you, Joan, right?
I saw Joan.
And then you had like Miranda and
that girl named Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Jennifer?
Yeah.
Right, she was before Joan.
Right.
And then Joan came. And Miranda and coming late.
Bit of coming in the later side, and Patrice and all of them.
Patsy and Eureka, all those
right,
coming before they played in the festival.
Right.
You know?
How was like the relationship with them in terms of you being the older woman that they would have to look up to?
Just normal, we just moved together.
It was just normal, natural.
Yeah,
okay.
It was over nobody or nobody below nobody.
Right.
It's just like what, you know.
If
everybody used to room like anybody on the room with me, probably. Because they used to travel when we won the festival and then.
Okay, I'll close off with this one
question now. So if you had something that you would like to tell young persons in Pan now, something, a message that you want to give them, something that you would have learned from yesteryear in your days, and that message, that one thing you would want to tell them, what would that be?
Well, the first thing is discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have discipline. Respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, everybody will
Respect it. Hold on, yeah, let's say that to the camera. I want you to watch the camera. Say that a little louder. I agree.
Yes, you have to have respect. Respect yourself, you know. And when you respect yourself, everybody will respect you. But if you have no respect for yourself, well, you know, just,
I agree.
you know. And I will encourage them, you know, like to do music. You know, if they could arrange, if they could Steelpan do something, to make something out of and to get something out of it. I couldn't do that because I had too much to think with.
But we saw that.
I still trying to learn the music. I can't do about after 3 grades of music I did.
Right.
You know, because I still do, I'm doing this man Wade and I do with
Edward, wait or
yeah,
okay.
and I did with Merle Albino.
Mingle Dico too, right. Yes. Okay. So
I do a lot of things, so I don't have time to stick to one thing, you know. To stick to one thing, so I've taken this as a professional because I'm done working already. And I will go in the government, I can't leave there and go.
I have a question that I wanted to ask. I usually ask some of the older people. I'll close out after this one. In 1979, I always ask the older Desperadoes that we had a boycott in Panorama. And everyone knows the story that Desperadoes would have crossed the stage and played and stuff. Were you there then? And what was the atmosphere like with that? The reasoning behind it and everything?
Well, band just went through and played.
Was that just Rudolph Charles' instructions? So you just did that?
I just went and played.
Was there any reasoning behind it?
Band to go in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no band wasn't supposed to cross the stage, but we went to cross the stage. Well.
Just because of the captain's orders?
Yeah.
Alright, I like that. One quick thing, I know Desperadoes in 1975, you all would have ran out, just like me, ran out in the preliminary rounds, kick out.
That's
and you all.
caught.
No, that was the Hatters would have won.
Oh, yeah.
And Desperadoes ran out. But what I like in terms of that story in 1975, you all are the only band that ever ran out and come back the next year and just say, I'm taking back my championship. Because, and then when the next year after, and Desperadoes have that history of bouncing back. That's something that I look at, I respect, and I'm trying to achieve now. So I'll leave it there.
Tell us in the street.
It's all about licking your wounds and coming again.
Yeah.
So at this time, I'd like to call the Vice President, Mr. Simpson, who's going to make a presentation to you. And it was a pleasure, Ms. Ursula. I enjoyed it.
Enjoying talking to you, in fact, because I'm not doing it.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's a great pleasure being in the presence of Ursula, because as someone who has been around the first Panorama in Savannah, 1963, because I grew up in St. James in 56, opposite to Tripoli. I was in Pan and head all the time. But what I remember about Desperadoes was in 65, where the first band to come in Savannah on a trailer, what you call a little boy. I just spent a few minutes on the contribution that Desperadoes also made before your time in Mass. And they played Mass that competed with big bands and so. Frozen North, Cult of the Leopards, and in 1959, Noah's Ark, you must have heard of what Noah's Ark.
Yeah, I remember Noah's Ark.
I was 9. So that Desperadoes made their contribution. But coming back to you, you were in the line of 2 women before who made contribution. One was Hazel Henley, who in the 50s had the first female band, Girl Pat. And then you had Daisy James McLean, she's still alive. Yes, she has a band. In 1976, Desperadoes won with Pan in Harmony. And in 77, playing Hasty Crawford. I was playing in 1977 third world, and we were playing Gold, which was a very popular song. And we said we beaten everybody that year. Unfortunately, Desperadoes came and they won. But it was all good fun. Well, I just read 2 or 3 quick things here, and I will leave it with you. Some stuff that I was going through in a book on Desperadoes. And it says that Ursula Tudor became the first female stateside member of the band in 1970. And he visited Jamaica in 76, US in 1977, Carnegie Hall. Ursula Tudor was there, 5 major appearances, and so on. So I will leave this information with you, which will probably I'll copy the entire book and somehow get it to you, because it's about the history of Desperadoes and all the players. And there's a photograph when they had when you got the accident, they had a fundraising at Whitco Grounds. So I will leave this with you.
Thank you very much.
So I'd like to thank you for the contribution that you made. And people always remember you, Ursula. And that's why. So thank you, and I'd like to wish you all the best and God bless. Thank you. But we like to present you with a small token from Trinbago. This is for you. This is you in any way possible. Okay, and I said we like to wish you. Yes, I got a sign. The sign name. Right. Let me see.
Sure.
Right here. So all the best. Come on, give me a kiss.
No kiss, no kiss, no kiss.
On your head. All the best. Okay?
So Ursula, it was really a pleasure having this conversation with you. My other officers at Trinbago, they too would have contributed to this discussion. I know that our young people out there are sure to emulate you, and of course some of what you have done. More so, you've really given me strength. There are times as a leader, leading during a pandemic, trust me, it overwhelms me at times. And coming into an organization, I must tell you, because you are a woman, so I could tell you a secret. This is a secret. When we came in, there was no money. Not $1 red. But where there is a will, there is a way. And sometimes I have to run back to Tobago to regain some strength. And trust me, I came in this morning to join my colleagues to talk to you. And I feel so refreshed. You don't know how you have blessed me.
Appreciated.
Yeah.
My brother coming from Tobago to here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I went home to we are calling for some R&R and to get to ease some stress off my mind, because running an organization during a pandemic, we didn't have a panorama, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we didn't have a panorama, it would that what it would have sent us back into a hole, because over the years, all those other fellas who were there, you know what I mean? As women, we always know to tie up with little money in a little handkerchief somewhere and to push somewhere to join us somewhere and to do this and to do that. And so, over the years, there was no investment into any kind of income generating assets. So now that we are in a pandemic and the entertainment industry has crashed, there is no money coming in from anywhere. So then it has to take some good negotiating skills, and then our sponsors are back on board with us. Thank God, people are just loving this new Trinbago. And I want to really say thanks to people like you who would have laid a foundation, because there is where our strength is there. Our strength lies with our member bands out there, like Desperadoes and All Stars and all those medium bands And I don't want to call any band name because I might get into trouble. But I'm saying that all the bands, the single pan bands, the medium bands, the small bands, the large bands, all of our bands out there are the strength upon which we stand. And so we know that one day the glory for Pan will come, and I want you to be able to see the glory. And so that is why I want to present this bouquet. This bouquet is yours. Eh? This is yours. I wanted to touch it. So you touch one part, I touch one part. And this is for you because we love you. And we are going to continue with this to reach out to all our pioneers out there so we can talk with them, because if it's not for you all, I don't know how Marcus, Keith, and all the rest of us on the executive will make it. So we want to say thanks to you. We love you. God bless you. And I thank you for the energy that you have given me as president, as a woman, multitasking and seeing all that you have done. It has renewed my strength and my conviction to go on and on and on. So thank you very much.
And I thank you too. I thank you all. I mean, I thank you all for this presentation. Thank you for the interview, because just last week I was saying I don't want to get nothing on a dead.
You get your roses, you're going to smell them whilst you're alive. You have your roses, you're going to smell them whilst you're alive.
In history, they say, well, look, I got a top interview because I did interview already with Trinbago and other, like when Yule Williams was in
Joan Yule Williams, yes, was
That's
minister. Yes.
Yes, I get awards and things.
Right.
You know?
I like how we say this is a top interview.
Yes. It is. It is a top interview. And it's appreciated very, very, very much. And I thank you for coming. I thank you, everybody, for coming.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
I'm making this come true because I was wondering if I could already make it. After
Yes.
yesterday, I told my brother, I said, don't you have to make it tonight.
Well, we give God praise and we give God thanks.
But he came home by my daughter and he gave me a massage in
Right.
the back and thing, and he told me to hold on for a little while.
Right. Good. Well, we give God
That's all I
thanks
get to do.
and we give God the praise, and we pray that He will continue to bless you and that He will continue to heal you from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.